you could say, here's how to do it right now. Here's the step-by-step process. And instead of taking action, the majority of people are going to go, here's the flaw that I had to hunt for and point out, and it's just a possible flaw. And so really what we're looking for is those people who can see the flaws, see the risk, and then mitigate it and say, okay, well, here's the actions I'm going to take.
In the last 8 days, the One Rental at a Time community has gotten a treat. We've had a 2-hour conversation with Pace Morby, and we're lucky enough to have a 2-hour conversation with the Iced Coffee Hour. What I wanted to do for a moment is take a step back, talk to my brothers in arms about those interviews, about those discussions, and what their takeaways were and what they hope the audience took away. We're going to start with Matt this time. Matt, which one do you want to talk about first?
Pace.
Let's do it. What did you take away?
So I took away that there's yet another way to do this. Shocking, I'm sure. And I think that I think that too often people quickly run to the fact of, oh, well, I could do that. And I don't think people have any clue. They have no clue. The thing that I took away from that meeting that was the most gobsmacking to me, 9 assistants.
Yeah.
9.
How about the $500,000 payroll every 2 weeks? That caught my attention.
I had 2. I had 2, and both of them didn't like me at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But he has 9 assistants. And so I think that you can build anything to scale. Exactly. I know Dion's already getting agita over there. I want to take some antacids, but I love the time with Pace because it helped me get to know him better. You know, here are the things he's excited about. Here are the things he's not excited about. You know, here are the things, and I find him to be a much more honest broker than most of the other talking heads on YouTube. I felt like he was being very honest and genuine in his responses. I think that I think that him being in his role, especially for the last 2 years, he gets a lot of slings and arrows thrown at him. He's self-confident in what they're doing. He sees it making a difference. And I think as a course creator, just like you guys, the toughest thing for us to always hold is somebody that wasn't successful. And then it's the course's fault. Okay. I mean, I'm willing to say that it probably doesn't teach you everything, but I'm also willing to say, and I know factually, every investor that's taken it and takes the advice to heart and manages it that way has made their business better. Every single one without question. So I felt like with Pace bringing that, because I had no idea that he didn't take any revenue from his courses. I thought that was
eye-opening.
That's unbelievable. And that is the ultimate flex when he says, I am literally not for him through no financial benefit to himself. I am giving these courses in my eyes. I'm giving it all away. This other guy's making all the money from it, but I do it for deal flow.
Yeah.
And I think my mind.
I think people really miss that. I knew that about Pace because we met in person, like you said, 5 years ago. And people don't understand. Pace in his whatever it was, 2,312 or 2,322 units. That's the game Pace is playing.
Yeah.
He's not playing small ball with courses.
No.
He's like, I'm going to be a billionaire.
Yeah.
Now, he didn't say those words on the channel, and I don't know that he said those publicly, but that's the game he's playing. So he is absolutely focused on deal flow. Everything he does is deal flow. Yeah. I love that.
I mean, let's just say he's as good as we are at what he does, and then you multiply it to the 2,300 houses.
Yeah. He is lazy. The thing that I will agree with you on is he is laser focused on what he does.
Yes.
Right. 9 assistants, all these other stuff. He doesn't waver from his focus on creating deal flow. He lets all the other things that fall out of that, which undoubtedly are millions of dollars, be handled by others. He doesn't get distracted by butterflies and, side projects.
It was exciting to me to see somebody more broken than me.
Yeah. That might be fair, actually.
Yeah. I said to Ash, I go, I could be that guy.
There are levels,
Even-
right?
Yeah,
There are levels to this thing.
even a tenth of that guy. Just imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof. I agree with you.
Oof.
That's pretty cool. Dion, I think you had one of the most meaningful moments. Your first interaction with him got the most feedback, and I agreed with. But what were kind of your takeaways?
So my takeaway from both Pace and Graham, right? The exposure that you had, that having them on here, I really like the idea of meeting Pace. It's like when you go to a party and you see somebody and you go, man, are you really going to wear that shirt at a party like this? And they look at you and they go, as long as you're going to wear those shoes, I guess I'm okay. And then you're like, oh, okay, we're cool, right? I told him, I says, look, I totally respect you, but don't get any of that on me. I don't want that, right? We become the average of the 5 people we hang out with. I don't want to become the average of somebody that's always growing, always going, always doing the next thing. Works for him. It's not what I want. And he wasn't insulted.
No.
He was like, no, I like that. You got to know who you are, right? And that's who you are.
Yeah.
But my real takeaway was from both of them is negative confirmation bias. And whatever content you put out, someone is going to be in the comments, somebody's going to be watching. And it's easier to say every silver lining has a cloud.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The comments in each one was Pace could only do it because, or on Graham's, iced coffee hour, Zuber, you could only do it because there were comments that said because you were a high income earner. Like, and how many times have we pointed out that we're not entrepreneurs, we're W-2s, and that's how you convert W-2 into it. And then the problem with being a high income earner from the cash flow game, that it's harder to escape the rat race because you get the expenses that come with that. And then people say, well, you can only do it because you did it back when, thinking it was easier then, right? Because there wasn't a 2008 crash. There wasn't the hardest time to be a landlord was 2005 because it was the easiest time to buy a house. Like, you'd all these challenges that you went through. And then the other one is you only did it because it's not now. And now they can point out any reason, because it's always hard to buy. Now they'll go high interest rates, high prices, looming recession. There's all of these excuses. That's my takeaway, is that you could say, here's how to do it right now. Here's the step-by-step process. And instead of taking action, the majority of people are going to go, here's the flaw that I had to hunt for and point out, and it's just a possible flaw. And so really what we're looking for is those people who can see the flaws, see the risk, and then mitigate it and say, okay, well, here's the actions I'm going to take. There's not that many. Right? You have 60,000 people that have subscribed at one point or another, over 60,000 who said, okay, I'm going to subscribe to this channel. You have the probably 10, 15,000 that watch kind of constantly, right? It's growing as we go. And then you have the hundreds that are taking action and actually doing something with the information. Those are the people all the content's for. And yeah, the next one we might find in a month and they're the person taking action. So we're still making content, but it's this, no matter how big the number is, it'll scale down to the actual people who are going to do something with it.
Yeah, I love all of that. One of my big takeaways from the PACE discussion was community. I don't think there's any question by anyone out there that Sub2, Pace Morby's community, is the biggest, most vibrant, most passionate group out there, right? If you go out and say one bad thing about Pace, like there are YouTube channels that are focused on talking down this, that, the other. His legions of fans come in and blow up that commenter. So what I took from Pace Morby is he invested years of going on the road. Because when I asked him how he did it, and he's like, hey, dude, I went on the road. I got in an RV. I did, Pace and Jamil do America. And then another time it was Pace and Laura, his wife, going around. He invested time creating this map of kind of other leaders in cities, right? I think he said, like, you can't go 75 miles without finding a Sub2 meetup. That's wild to think about. And obviously that infrastructure that he built on purpose is his deal flow, right? If you have, I don't know, pick a number, 1,000 Sub2 meetups a month, it's no wonder Pace can make looking. One of the things that I think Pace gets heartburn for or gets people attacked for is how easy he makes it look. It is easy for him because he spent 5 years on the road doing what you don't want to do, meeting all these people, establishing relationships. He's got 20,000 people, 1,000 groups. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to say, you know what? He probably gets 50 deals a week to look at, and he probably takes 5 of them. That's the game he's been playing for years that no one saw coming. People look at him now and go, you know, it's always easy for Pace. Well, dude, he went back and did it for freaking 5 years like no one else ever has. So, you know, there's a lot to be said for investing in in-person sessions. We have only done to date 2. We did a test run in Fresno, and then we did our first real one in Vegas. We're doing another one in February. But one of the things that intrigued me was, you know what? What if we ask folks like Mark, the financial firefighter, who's in Hawaii? You know what? Why don't we try to set up a one-day event in Hawaii at some, you know, free location? You know, why don't we try to do something in Texas or Florida? You know, maybe once a quarter. I was like, you know what? Maybe that'd be okay. But let's be clear, I'm not renting an RV and driving across the country because that has no interest to me. We'll go back to Dion. What were kind of some of the other takeaways?
So I think it's really important for people to understand, right, that there's no one right way to do this. There's a one right way for you. And that kind of assumes that we would even have the same goal.
Yeah.
Right. What is your exit strategy? How do you want to leave this? And I think Pace really pointed it out when he said, and it made me come up with kind of an idea for my own exit strategy. When do you not even want to own a rental anymore?
Yeah, he talked about
what
that.
point?
Yeah.
How do you exit that? And so I was talking with a friend last night, Michelle. She was in the Zoom chat with us. She's close to my age, and she's buying properties now, so they wouldn't be paid off until she was 80. So seller financing didn't seem like an option. And because of talking to Pace and because of going, okay, well, how would you get out of real estate in 10 or 20 years when she wants to get out? She doesn't have to have them all paid off. She can have 1 or 2 with enough equity to sell, take the equity to pay off the other ones, and then seller finance the ones that are left. Like there's all these creative strategies to get out. But if you're not thinking of your end goal, then even though there is a one right way for you, you'll never find it. So figuring out, and that's what my takeaway from everything. Because even like Graham, like I started watching Graham when he made his content in 2015, 16, 17, right? And when he was finance, how to get a better credit score, my first couple of rentals, his YouTube channel hadn't really taken off yet. And so he didn't have the big YouTube money. He was, here's how I'm doing it as a regular person.
Yeah.
And then YouTube took off so much that what I like about him is he still does the videos on the basics, right? They're not all the videos are on the basics. He's done a lot of reacting to videos. So I'll target those ones that look like a basic video. When you're talking about Pace or you or Matt or me or anybody, I think if you figure out your end goal, then you know how to target the information that will be on the path that you're on. Kind of like, I know you have stock guys on your channel. And don't be offended, I don't watch them. Because like Pace, I don't want to get any of that ick on me. I don't want to go, oh, that's a whole new thing I can totally dive into and be. And I said it with Pace. I said, once you win the game, stop playing.
Yeah, that hit him hard. I remember his reaction to that.
It's hard for all of us to go, okay, stop moving the goalpost. Right. And so that I'm taking that to heart for myself.
Yeah.
I want to enjoy retirement. That was the whole point. I'll share with people how to get here. But I don't want to go to events to learn the next new thing.
Yeah. Yeah. If you've won the game, stop playing. I remember Pace taking notes on that, right? Because that's an important one. Matt, one of the statements you made that I know caught Pace pretty good was the headache or the hassle to money equation. What was that?
BS to money ratio.
Yeah. BS to money ratio. That was a good one. Tell us about that.
It's how I've run my business since day one. I know that if I'm going to have to deal with a lot of garbage and, paperwork and extra calls, that's why I stayed away from Section 8 for so long. It was the BS to money ratio. I was like, why am I going to take less for a unit and have more calls and more activity? And that was just based on what I'd heard. It wasn't based on experience. It's just what I heard. And so everything that I do in my business is recognizing that I've done the hardest things and I've done the easiest things. And the hardest things almost always pay the most, and the easiest things almost always pay the least. And so for me, it's just the ratio. What do you want? Do you want to eat ramen, only drink water? Is that what you want to do for your life to get on your investment journey? Okay, I can tell you it's painful. It's definitely faster. It's definitely faster. Or do you want to still kind of generally live a normal life and cut very little expenses? It's going to be a lot longer of a slog. Way it goes, you know, like what you did with your budget and how you did that with Olivia. We did exactly the same thing. Our treat was the dollar menu. You know, we would get the extra large size of cereal when you could get that for $4. Now it's $7, but that would be 3 or 4 meals or 5 meals for us. And so it's all about that BS to money ratio and right sizing. I couldn't live on what Dion lives on. I couldn't.
No.
I have 4 kids and a wife. Couldn't do it. God bless him. He's a single man. He's a handsome man, but he's able to live on that much money. And for me, I've got 4 kids, all young. I've got a wife that is retired and she doesn't work either. I'm retired. I don't work either. I'm on just a fixed income. And so I need to make sure that it's a much bigger fixed price than I could. That way I get to choose whatever I want to do. And I think that that's what people need to focus on. We all have different financial requirements. We all ran our businesses differently, and we all are financially free and do whatever we want. And that's the key, is what do you want your life to look like? And then build the portfolio or whatever it is, whether it's stocks or houses or cars, build whatever portfolio and intelligence in that asset that you can, to then build the portfolio that you can have freedom with.
Yeah. I want to go to the iced coffee hour one now. And it's every time you go to interviews like this, and again, Graham and Jack, they were well prepared. They had a list of questions.
Always.
Yeah. You just, you never know where it
Right.
was going to go or start. It was, it's always fun to be interviewed by somebody who frankly does it for a living. So shout out both of them. It was really interesting kind of talking about the basics, right? One of the statements I remember making that didn't land well with Jack was the thing called the monthly nut. He didn't know what that was. So one of the eye-opening things to me was me, the old guy, the Gen Xer. Sometimes I think we need to watch our vocabulary, because what we are comfortable with and we understand like secondhand may not be understood by the younger generation. So when I have frequently said, hey, go figure out what your monthly nut are, assuming everybody knows what that is, that's bad. Clearly, that's not something. So let's define that here, right? What is your monthly nut? It is simply the list of expenses that you have to put out each and every month to live your life. The lower that number is, the faster, generally speaking, you can earn financial freedom. And that was really eye-opening to me. Is we the old guys, you know, together we average 50. We need to appreciate that, you know, if we truly are trying to grow the middle class, watch our vocabulary.
Yeah, I think that kind of goes both ways too, generationally. And so I did a live stream last night on this cash flow mistake, and I'll use it as an example. And so you said, this is my monthly nut. And I watched that part of the video. You had to kind of explain what the word was, so that they would understand you were talking about burn rate, right? So if at the end of the video, they said, it was really nice having Zuber on here, he's got the Riz. Would you even know what they mean?
I did not know what that was.
So it's a younger slang for charisma.
Oh,
so the
so
language
Riz
thing
is a
goes
good
both
thing.
ways. And so when we're talking about this, we want to understand the mental state of the person we're talking to, as how far they've taken the journey into what we're talking about. So if we're talking about rentals, just to be a really quick example, if I can, as fast as possible, and I'll use education as the format. So if somebody gets to the kindergarten level of rentals, they ask you how many doors you have.
Right.
It's door count. That's everything. If you have 40 doors or 100 doors, one's a bigger portfolio. They haven't thought of, well, what if you're losing money on every door? More doors could be a negative thing. So then they go, okay, well, how much are you making per door? Now, this is like middle school. They go, if you're making some money on each door, now the bigger portfolio per door, they understand the Burr method. You might have a better understanding of per door. And then we go, high school level, what about yield? Right, $100 per door is great, but what if you invested $1 billion or $0? $100 is a very different return. Then we go after high school, we've got this college level of cash flow. If cash flow is this much of, is a rental a good deal or not? I'm going to mute that until that.
I don't hear it.
Apparently you didn't hear it. Really? Wow. It was a cooking timer or smoke alarm, whatever you want to call it. So after
That's
we
a very
realized
different
also-
thing, by the way, cooking timer.
Depends
Does
on
the
who's
same thing in
cooking.
my house.
Oh,
So, sorry, the squirrel ran off with the Emperor's Groove over there somewhere.
yeah,
But
high school level.
high
was
school level
yield.
math is just this much. Then we go, okay,
Right.
there's parking, economic drivers, washer
Yeah.
dryer hookups. We go through all this stuff. So when we're talking to something about investing, we have to ask questions to figure out what they understand, to know how much we need to break down our vernacular.
Totally agree. Totally agree. Let's do some closing thoughts on the PACE. Actually, let's ask this question. Guys, would you like me to reach out to PACE again and try to get a new 2-hour discussion lined up? We'll go to Matt first. Would you want to do that?
Of course. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think it was great to get to know him. I don't, because all of us do YouTube, people sometimes feel like they have familiarity.
Mm.
Right. And I've never spoken with Pace. I've watched him for a couple hundred hours on
Right.
YouTube. So I felt it was great. And that's why, it was good to listen to that stuff and listen intently and hear what, how he feels about certain things. I'd like to kind of, hack it up with him.
Okay.
He was a contractor.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
I watched his flip show. Many things were thrown at my television. Because I'm just like, is that production or is that like something they're actually doing? Like, and that's a challenge. So it's like, even just going down that path of like, how much is real and how much isn't? Like, are they putting gates in? Because I felt like some of those projects went really slowly, and I doubt Pace is that slow.
Right.
Or what else was going on? Was it because, you're staging out, you're doing 35 of them all in the same area? And so you recognize it's not going to be a 45-day flip. It's going to be 90 days. So just kind of, the inner workings of the business and what he does. I think a lot of it, I'd love that. I think it would be awesome.
Okay.
I think we can have.
Dion, you down for, if I can, next Wednesday or maybe the Wednesday after, doing another 2 hours?
So I have a request. You know how in the past I love to spend Zuber's money.
Yes, you do.
Right.
Great.
And get you to dye your hair purple, whatever it takes.
Yeah. All right.
It's not easy. And I absolutely will do like a FaceTime call with you and walk you through it. But what I would really ask, if we have Pace back,
Oh,
is
shit.
we do it as a live. I'll connect your Zoom to YouTube. I know it's a pain, but I want to see the comments of us interacting with Pace with the people that watch the channel. So we know that we're talking in the moment about what people want to know from the four of us. So it doesn't have to be, I'll come either way, but I think that would be a better format.
How about if we split the difference and we made it only accessible live to the school community? Would you rather?
Yeah.
Would that
So
be a
live
step?
for school, as long as there's commenters that are asking questions, and then put that video on YouTube. Absolutely.
Yeah, because I know how to make it live for the school members. That I can do. The other one freaks me out and gives me hives.
Because there's 3 buttons to click on. It's way too much.
It's
sucks.
really,
Yeah,
it's really easy to do. The thing that I would think, Zub, and you can do whichever one,
Mm.
you're in charge.
Okay.
Is school is great, but it's more limited community.
Sure.
YouTube is going to get everybody, and that's what I want to see. Like, I think it would look
Okay.
like, honestly, like a normal Pace chat where I've couldn't finish. I'm just a 9th grade dropout, so I can't read that fast anyway, but usually I can't finish reading the
Yeah, me too.
comment,
Sometimes they go
right. It just rolls through fast, but there's like, that gives us a lot more to pull from. That will be the most interesting.
All right.
But that's,
All right.
but that's me. I mean, he's not scared. He's on.
No,
YouTube
and let's
kids.
be clear. Of the 4 people that would be on that, I'm the only one nervous because I'm the one
I
that has to
know.
make it work.
Dion or I can get you going. It's fine. We do it all the time.
All right. I will reach out to Pace today. I think he prefers to do them live. So
It's more fun.
we'll make that. Well, I will ask and see if we can make
Yeah.
that happen. Dion, where can they find you?
Right here on YouTube, spending Zuber's time and money at Dion Talk Financial Freedom.
And yourself, Matt?
Lumberjack Landlord, 9 p.m. Thursdays is my live. And yeah, just here trying to make people elite operators, having fun.
There you go. Thank you so much.